The holidays are a time to feel and create joy. And what could be more joyous than the look on her face as she unwraps a stunning new jewelry piece from Blue Nile? How about getting 50% off your purchase? Blue Nile offers premium quality, priced below traditional retail. Their online experts are available 24/7 to answer any questions and make sure you've picked the perfect gift. For a limited time, you can get 50% off at BlueNile.com. That's 50% off at BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Columbia Sportswear. It's snowing again, and that wind chill is killer. But you're not worried about that because you shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection. It's warmth perfected with tiny gold dots that reflect your body heat inside and protect you from the cold outside. No snow or chilly temps can stop you now. Go out anyway. Shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection now at Columbia.com/infinity.
Anfernee Simons is back, much to my delight, but DeAndre Ayton out, Jeremy Grant out, Malcolm Brogdon out. Such is life for the Portland Trailblazers. Still, they've been playing some decent basketball lately, and we are here to talk about it all. I'm Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and OregonLive, joined by Craig Birnbach. Craig, the last time we talked, the Blazers had won at Indiana, won at Cleveland. Since they somehow lost to Utah without its best two players, then, of course, they blew a big lead against the Warriors, and that is the Warriors are still the Warriors, even though they struggled in that game. But, man, all told, this team's playing some pretty decent basketball. I thought they were getting rolled last night without Ayton and Grant, and then when Brogdon went out, and they were in it to win it to the last 6 minutes, they kind of fell apart. But what do you make of what we're seeing these past two games? I mean, even though they're losses, this is a team that keeps proving night in and night out that they are coming to play. And you better bring your A game or you are going to lose. And the best bet in the NBA right now is Blazers plus 10. Because when they're 10 or more dogs, they're covering or winning. What you got?
Yeah. Well, first of all, how big was your smile when Mr. Simons was back out there? Did you?
I wept. I wept a little. I wept. And when he made his first three, I bawled. And my wife's like, what are you crying about? It's back. She's like, oh, Lord, not that guy. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was very happy to see my man back. You know how I love me some Ant. So, yes, very happy to see him back.
Yeah, I will say this. They're playing as well as you could expect them in many ways. And they're making the games enjoyable and entertaining, which is, for us, very important because we're going to watch them. So I've enjoyed these games. I'm surprised the Utah performance was not great. They should have. I was surprised they weren't favored. I thought they were going to be favored for like the first time all season, and they weren't. And I was like, well, that's crazy. And then it wasn't because they did lose. And then last night with the Warriors, you're like looking and like, how are they doing this? How are they staying here? And even when they lost, it was almost like, did they just lose? Like I thought they were winning. You know, like it happened in a way that wasn't embarrassing, even though they had a big lead. It wasn't like the Milwaukee loss to me, which that one was, there was a little double on that because of Lillard. But I'm finding things to enjoy, even though their offense stinks. I'm still finding things to enjoy, and it'll be better now. And I will say this, what Simons brings is he's the only player on the team that when he shoots, my assumption is it's going in. You know, I just assume, good form, looks good. And the guy doesn't play for, almost 2 months and he scores 28. Like, the guy's got talent. I mean, he is talented. So I enjoy that. And Kamara, man, I'm on the Kamara bandwagon. I'm officially on Fentress. You can't push me off. The guy's going to be all defensive player. He's going to make the all rookie team. I just love watching him mess with people. I mean, he messed with Stephen Curry. He got Curry to walk on a layup, and they called it. Not just walk, but and they called it. But so I'm enjoying watching the games, and I think that's all you can ask for. And I have to give Chauncey Billups credit because he's figuring out ways to have his players succeed. Almost all of them. You know what I mean? Even Scoot, which we'll talk about more, hasn't been brilliant, but he's found ways to get him in there, and it's led to some success. So Yeah, it's weird. We're talking about losses, but they feel okay, right?
Yeah, that's the case because expectations are so low, right? They're still 6-14, right? There's still a lot of problems there, but they haven't been whole. I think this team whole is actually going to be a problem for a lot of teams. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. Don't get crazy here and think I'm going that far yet. But they're not. They're all put together. They're not an awful team. You just wonder how it's going to fit and how they're going to gel, and then what you're going to do with the lineups, and do you have enough size, etc. But the emergence of Kamara as a legit 6'7" defensive menace is huge to this team because that's helped their defense be middle of the pack. I think they might be 12th or 13th right now. There was a stretch there over 5 games. They had the best defense in the league, 104 rating, which is insane, right? And they haven't really fallen off these last 2 games very much. So if your defense is there and then Ant comes back and you start shooting better, which they actually are starting to do already anyway, you're going to be a problem. And like I said, 3 times when they've been, well, actually 4 times they've been dogs by 10 points or more. Milwaukee, Indiana, Cleveland, and the Warriors. And they covered all 4 and they won 2 of them. So I think we're going to see those 10-point spreads start to fall a little bit because they're playing good defense and they're starting to score offensively. So at the very least, Craig, if you're a Blazers fan or if you're someone who's paid to watch them when you know they're not going to be successful, they're entertaining to watch. I want to watch them. I want to watch Shaedon Sharpe dunk on fools who dare get in his way in the lane. I want to watch Cabrera give people the business up and down the court. And now that Ant's back, I want to watch my boy. So, yes, it's been a fun team to watch.
Yeah, we got to mention Thibel's defense. He's been everywhere, just blocking shots, steals. It feels like that. Billups has said, "Go ahead, do whatever you got to do." You get, and it certainly worked out when he's on the floor. So when you have Kamara and Thibault, your offense is not very good, but your defense is really, really good. So that's been interesting to watch. And you mentioned Sharp dunking on everybody. Kamara dunks on some people. He dunked on some people. He had one of the best dunks I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's pretty much where his range is right now. So, but I mean, even in last night's loss, I saw him, get a rebound, take it up court, throw a bounce pass to Walker that led to a foul. So you could see growth. You could see more and more from Kamara each time, and he does not lack confidence. And here's how I know why. He talks to refs like he's been in the league 10 years. Every time he commits a foul, he's explaining everything he did and why it wasn't, and then asking why they called it. So he clearly is a confident guy on that defensive end. And his college numbers, you've mentioned it, his college offensive numbers are good. So I'm hoping for that upside, to come around with him, because if he gave you 12 a game, I can't think about that, right? I'm pushing too fast. I just got on the bandwagon. I can't.
But you don't even really need 12. If you have Anfernee, Sharpe, Grant, and Ayton, right? And Kamara's out there, just mess with people. And then score in transition, score when it's wide open. And it doesn't matter if he scores 4 one night, 12 another. You don't need his offense because you got 4 other dudes who can bring it. So, I how I am about too early hype unless I'm the one doing the hype. If I'm doing the early hype, it's real. If other people are doing it, I got to poke holes in it. I'm not sure he's an NBA starter, on a good team. But, we'll worry about that when this team is good. But right now, what he gives them is huge because when was the last time – we talked about this. When was the last time they had a dude with length who played defense up and down the court? Yeah. They've always been small, 1, 2, and 3, right? So you got a guy who can do that. So I'm not gonna poo-poo him because of his offense because you got other dudes who can score.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking long term. He's definitely not an NBA starter now on a good team, but he's not embarrassing. Right. I'm just thinking long term. You pick this guy in the second round. Right now, you got 2 second rounders playing really solid basketball and being contributors. That's, teams that have real success, you can usually find one of them, a second rounder that overachieved. But you give them credit. They drafted Grant and they traded, to get Kamara.
They drafted Walker.
Not Grant, Walker, sorry.
Yeah.
They're all related to somebody in the NBA. I get them mixed up, so.
Exactly.
Fathers both played.
A child of a former NBA player. So you were close.
But I'm just saying that's good drafting right now. And without them, they would lose by 10 plus,
Yeah, those two have been huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the funny thing about Kamara is you can't give them credit for drafting Kamara because they passed on him, but
they got him.
They got him in the trade, right? And they said they saw something during Summer League. It didn't work out well when they worked him out, and they got him in the trade however they got him, and it's working out. So that's just however you get him. That's all that matters. So, yeah, some good stories there. But, the main story, the thing we got to talk about for at least the next 55 minutes is the return of my boy, Anfernee. I love the fact that Ant came out and just shot up 27 shots. Like, he just didn't care. He only made 10. He didn't shoot well. I have to admit, he didn't shoot well. He said that there were some shots he liked. They just didn't fall. But he was 6 for 12 on threes, man. And that's what can make up for some of those misses. Still, 10 for 27, I'm not going to pretend that's good. But if you're going to hit 6 of 12 from threes, and if he brings that, he's actually 50% all the time, but if he brings that threat, it's just going to, when Aiden comes back, when Grant comes back, their offense, I think, is going to take a nice jump. They came into this game last in scoring. I think from here on out, when those guys are healthy, I think they'll be more middle of the pack in scoring. And if you couple that with a middle of the pack defense, your net rating is not too bad. You're going to win some games. So it was good to see him back. Didn't show any signs whatsoever of having been out. And, man, he can be electric, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's the one guy on the team when he shoots it. I'm like, oh, that's going in. And when he misses, I'm surprised. He doesn't take bad shots, though. Even those 28 shots, I don't remember any of them being like, oh, what are you doing? Had to take a couple, end of shot clock and end of clock. But he looked really good. And I'm anxious to see him, really play the point. It looks like if Brogdon's out, right, he's going to be for any period of time.
That's going to be interesting to see, right? So you think it's going to be
really your lead guard for sure. But I would assume going forward that he's going to play a lot the 1, Sharp the 2, right?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how they do that. Because Malcolm was playing so well. But, yeah, I think you probably – I don't know. Do you want Ant? I don't know. The whole thing's just a mess right now. But, yeah, I would probably go Ant, Sharp, Kamara at this point. Although I could see them going Malcolm, Ant, Kamara, and then bringing Sharp off the bench at the 2. I don't know. Do you take Sharp out?
Sharp's like tough. 4th in the league in minutes played. Like, are you really going to put him on the bench? Like, at this point, what's the purpose?
Though. But that was because of injury. He got all those minutes because everyone was out. Ant was out, Scoot was out, Malcolm went out, so Sharp had to play a ton of minutes. But either way, whatever they decide to do, whatever. Just everyone's going to get their minutes. Did you lose me?
You were locked up.
Yeah.
You're locked up again.
This happened with Brenna. So that was about the 8:30 mark. It still records. It's just that we can't always hear each other. So 8:30 mark. You got me now, though, right?
Yep. And I just asked, like, what's the point of bringing Sharp off the bench?
Yeah, Sharp had a stretch there where he was not good. Like, he's getting a lot of minutes because of all the injuries, and his shooting percentages were horrible for like a 5-game stretch. I wrote about it. Like, he shot like 28%, 32%, and 20% on threes or whatever. So he's been up and down. So you can make the case, if you're trying to put your best lineup on the court, that you go Malcolm, Ant, Kamara, and you bring Sharp off the bench at the 2 and the 3. He still gets the same amount of minutes. He just comes off the bench. You could make that argument. You could also make your argument. Start Ant at the point, start Sharp at the 2, bring Malcolm off the bench. You could do it either way. I don't think, to me, I don't even think it matters that much. He's going to get 30-plus minutes a game, and he's going to do what he does. As long as people are playing, I don't think it matters who starts, to be honest with you. It's just whatever. Because they're not trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't care if he starts so much, but I think he should at this point. Like, I think you want to give him that mentality. He kind of, yes, he had a bad stretch, but he's earned it, in my opinion. Like, he earned the right to start. Let him start. I I'd trade Brogdon sooner rather than later because
Right.
he keeps getting hurt. He's gotten hurt throughout his career. He's not part of your future. I would go get something for him, and then you don't have to worry about it. And again, you're not trying to win games. So what do you mean? And I know you're trying to win games, but the roster wasn't set up to win this year. So why act like it is? And why play the 30-year-old vet that you're probably going to trade to start when you're not trying to build anything with Brogdon as far as confidence? And
Yeah.
so I would start Sharp.
I hear you. I get caught up in my head. I get caught up sometimes with, are you going to put the absolute best lineup on the court, or are you just going to put a lineup on the court that gives you development? And because you want to win, but you don't care if you don't, really. Like, each individual game, they're trying to win, but at the end of the season, if they finish in the lottery, they're happy with that, right? So to that end, I agree with you. Just start Sharp, because regardless of what you do now, if he's not your future starter at the 2, then what was it all for, right? So roll with it. If he struggles, you lose games, you're happy with that. If he flourishes, you're happy with that. So I'm with you on that. I've turned the corner from what's best, like my win now for all of humanity. I said about Brogdon versus Scoot. Clearly, you would play Brogdon over Scoot, or we're all going to be doomed. No offense to Scoot. But Sharp's been good enough to where, you just start him. So probably be Ant, Sharp, Kamara, and then you bring Brogdon, Scoot, and Thibault off the bench. So I'm cool with that. Whatever.
Yeah, my thought is
Ant's getting 25 shots.
Yeah, my thought is you made the decision in the offseason.
Right.
Like when you made these deals. So let him play. And again, I'd trade Brogdon as soon as I could. Hopefully his knee soreness is just a little thing, but everybody in the NBA knows that he's got little things. So I would try to get something for him while you can, because the last thing you want is him to go out, get knee surgery or something like that. And then
you can't move him.
And you already had that, with a big man going down, and you can't trade him. So that's what I would do. But I'm going to move on to the next subject on the rundown is, if everyone's healthy, which is a big if, because there hasn't been, how good do you think this team can be, Fentress? Could they defy the odds and play themselves into the play-in?
I looked at the standings, and so there's some teams who are underachieving, one of them being the Warriors. The Utah Jazz are a mess, and a lot of people thought they would be in the mix. Houston's fallen off. The Clippers are not playing very well. So there's some teams there that, are not pulling away from the area of, the borderline playing. But the problem is the Blazers they're 6-14, right? So you're probably going to have to be 500. They're already 8 games under. Are they going to play 8 games over from here on out? I just don't believe they are. Like, they're going to have injuries that's going to cost them games. They still have some issues. I think teams are going to adjust to them and maybe take them more seriously, maybe attack them differently. So, no, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I just do believe that they're definitely not going to be an easy mark, right? They're not going to be a team that you say, Plus, John Morant is coming back.
Yep.
Memphis with John Morant, I think, is going to be better. And so you have to try and catch them as well. So, no, I don't think postseason is a possibility at all, nor do they want that. They don't want that. So they will do things. If it comes to that, if it's like, let's say they win 10 of the next 12, and they're in 7th place, give Tanya Harding a ring, find out what Gully is. all of a sudden, do start having stuff. Because making the playoffs is the worst thing you can do, because you're going to get rolled and you got to give up your pick. And if you make the playoffs, you're giving up a 15, 16, 17 pick. But if you tank, you're going to get a high lottery pick. So you're basically giving up a high lottery pick, which you can attain. So, yeah, they're just, no matter how they play, they're going to find a way to not make the postseason. 100%.
Yeah, you know how I feel. Like, don't make the worst thing that can happen to them is getting in the play, because then it was all for nothing. like in a way, like it was silly. I will say this. I liked how they played, but I do believe in, you watch the NBA long enough, you know that good teams sometimes they coast until they don't have to coast. The Warriors, they almost took it too far. The Bucks almost took it too far, but that's going to happen more and more. And they're going to know what Kamara does, and they're going to set some picks in the front court. You know what I mean? They're going to decide, like, we're not going to let you be that disruptive, or we're going to have ways around this. And I do think that they're going to get blown out of some games. And like you said, they're 6-14. If you do the math, they're on pace. We're all excited about them, and they're on pace to win like 25 games. So, like, like if they played any worse, they would be way worse. So I hope they won't. I hope they stay competitive and make it fun. And I do hope we continue. And that's part of I want to see Sharp play, because I don't want to see Brogdon play. Like, I just don't care. I mean, he's a good player. He's solid. I enjoy the moments, like down the stretch if he hits a big shot. But if you ask me who I want to see as far as, the Blazers and their potential future, that's what I want. So, yeah, I expect them to go a stretch where they get blown out. They don't cover the 10, for a few games. I just hope they're better at home. Like they've been than they are on the road, in the sense that I hope that their games at home are competitive. Because you want the fan base to attach to some of these young guys, and they already all have. I mean, we went through that stretch where there were people thinking, "Baby Blazers, we're going to be fine. We're going to make the playoffs," right? And then they went, "Scoot's the worst pick in the world," and now they're like, I think they're coming to the ground. It's like, okay, I get it. We're not going to win, but I really enjoy watching Kamara. I want to see Sharp dunk on everyone from the foul line, and let's see what Ayton can do, and enjoy Simons, because Simons is in that in-between. I don't know what the heck his future is, whether it's with this team or someone else. So I just wanted elements of fun. And scoring some points would be nice.
So Simon's future could be as lead guard for this team unless Scoot Henderson improves over the next couple of years, because right now you're not trading Ant to start Scoot because he's not there. So I've been doing a series called Scoot Check, sort of monitoring his development. I did 1.0, which was after the preseason. I did 2.0 after the first 5 games. He got injured, so I didn't have the chance to do one until recently. I did one right before this Golden State game, looking at his 5 games since he came back. And, Chauncey Billups said after he returned that he was on a minutes restriction because of the ankle. I gave him the benefit of the doubt on that, but clearly it was also determined that he wasn't ready to start, because he just isn't. And that's the smart move, I think, because it's been benefiting him to come off the bench. So his minutes per game went down from 28 to 22, but his points went up to 9.6 per game from 8.8 because he shot better. He shot better coming off the bench, especially on threes. His defensive rating has gotten a lot better. It's gone from 111, to 103. And now his net rating has gone from a minus 14.1 in the first 5 games to a minus 5.8. He's still, his 3 ball has been better, but like last night, he had some shots that missed badly. He's just not, it's early, but he's not doing anything that makes you go, wow, that boy's got talent. He makes a couple passes here and there that anyone can make. He's not rising up and dunking on people. All the speed people talked about, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the Westbrook, Derrick Rose type of John Wall type speed that he allegedly has. And teams just leave him alone to shoot. He gets the ball wide open, no one budges. Let him shoot it. So he's got a long way to go. But at least there were some signs of improvement over these last 5 games. But, man, the gap between him and Anfernee is even greater than I thought it was. I didn't believe for a second he beat out Ant or Sharp. He didn't come close. And Ant's so much better than him that at this point, you're not moving Ant at any moment to start Scoot, because you're playing your best player to start what right now is the worst player in your rotation, and that's not going to be good for the franchise. So I don't think Ant's going anywhere. Like, I don't think Ant is going to be traded this year at all, because he could be your lead guard for the next however long it takes for, Scoot to come around.
You got me?
I got you.
Okay, well, the good news is if it recorded, then we're fine.
Yeah,
I heard most of it.
Okay.
It just froze for a long time, and then it came back. So 21:01.
All right, so 20.
I heard enough. It froze twice during that, though.
Right.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. What I'll say about Scoot is there aren't embarrassing moments. Like, there were some embarrassing moments before he got hurt. 7 turnovers, and he's definitely not turning the ball over as much. But they're not giving him that responsibility either. You know, they're making sure someone else is. He's not often the primary ball handler. He's had someone there with him, and I will say, like, he had a couple pull-up jumpers last night that he nailed. That looks good. He's playing hard on defense. I like seeing that. He's not good at it. He fouls too much, but he's playing hard. But yes, the one thing that I have, we're going to give you my ultimate disappointment, and again, he's 19. He's played, a dozen games. I haven't seen that athleticism really just go pop off the charts. So, like you said, I haven't seen the Russell Westbrook in him. I saw one when he came back. He had one amazing pass where, he went in the middle, jumped up, and fired one right to a guy in the corner. I was like, okay, that's a special pass. Not everyone can do that. I get it now. Not that I didn't get it before, but that's what I want to see more of. But yeah, I'd like to see some coast to coast. I'd like to see him get an N1 here or there that we just haven't seen much. But it's been better, and I give Chauncey and the coaching staff credit where they're setting him up for success. And he's not – they're playing him minutes, and the team's not dropping off because they figured out, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do okay. You're not going to make too many mistakes. And the turnovers being down, that's huge, right? Because that's a step to see that he's getting something, that he's learned something. He's not making those same mistakes. He's understanding what the NBA is and what he can and can't do. But I'm hoping to see steady improvement where you're not saying like, oh gosh, like there's no way he's not Simons. Like, I just want to see those electric moments. I'm hoping for him.
Yeah. What's interesting, so he comes back. He has a bad shooting night against Utah at home in the win, 1 for 7, but he gave you 7 assists, right? Then he shoots a lot better the next night, 3 or 4 on threes, 13 points, but only 1 assist. And then he gives you 13 points and just 1 more assist in the Indiana upset, but he shot a better 2 of 3 on threes. Then he goes and gives you 7 assists against Cleveland, but he goes 1 for 8 from the field, over 5 on threes. So he's struggling to really put it together, right? But the Utah lost 17 points on 6 of 15, 2 of 5 on threes, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. But yeah, you got in foul trouble, but that's okay. They only had 2 turnovers. And then this last game, off the bench, 4 of 9, missed all of his threes, but he's still 4 of 9, 9 points, 4 assists. So he's contributing, but he's not, if you're a Blazer fan, you always have to give people time. And it's not his fault that you were sold a bill of goods, right? Right? It's not his fault that people told you what he was going to be. Because those people clearly didn't know what they were talking about. So you have to let him grow into what he could become and not worry about it and freak out strictly because you were told how great this kid was going to be out the gate. And that's why everyone believed he should start over Ant. He should start over Shaden. Ridiculous. And it looks stupider in hindsight. But he is showing signs where he does have some talent. He just needs time to grow. And that's, I believe we're going to be saying this exact same thing next year. Right? I don't think next year he's going to be ready to be the lead point guard on a team that's trying to win. I think it's going to take him time to get to that level.
Yeah, and I would just say, like, I don't know if they were sold a bill of goods. I mean, no one said he was going to. I get what you're saying. That
dude, people said transcendent, generational would be the number 1 pick in most drafts. They were comparing him to Westbrook and Rose and all these other people. And everyone was convinced that he was better than Anfernee the night they drafted him, and he was better than Shaden. I don't know how many times people were telling me, you're crazy if you don't think Scoot's going to start. And I'm like, there's no way he's going to beat those 2 out. You're nuts. Even people I work with, you're crazy. Where are you getting that nonsense from? Well, I watched him in the G League. So the hype was insane.
Yes, but I said he was going to start, and he did. He did start. I didn't think he was better than Simons.
But you said he was going to start because he was a number 3 pick, and you got to start him. You didn't say because he was going to earn it. So I give you a pass. Other people were saying, no, he's better than Ant. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, are you kidding me? If Anfernee Simons had been in the G League, he's not averaging 16 points and shooting 42%. He's averaging 36 points and shooting 59% and 45% on threes because no one in the G League can even remotely stop him from doing whatever he wants. Whereas your boy struggled. So you expect him to go from struggling in the G League to be better than Anfernee Simons, someone we've seen drop 45 on pulls? Right? No, it's not a thing. So that's all I'm saying. So that's not his fault. That's the hype train fault. That's when your GM says all these things and decides he's so great, I can't trade him to build around Dame anymore because he's unbelievable. And then he comes out and he's not better than Kobe White. Kobe White, the Bulls' struggling point guard, is way better than Scoot Henderson right now. It's not even close. So that's the problem. So I just want fans to just not hold it against him and chill and let him grow at his natural rate and forget all the crap that you were told from Cronin and GMs and other GMs and scouts, et cetera, et cetera. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I got you on that. Damian Lillard's the one who's he's like, and he's been, I give Lillard credit because he's been really supportive of, the Blazers on social media. When Sharp dunked, he put something out, but like with Scoot, like he told you, like that's why he wanted to get traded. He knew
exactly.
Like, this guy's not gonna. Well, he's it's like, well, if CJ couldn't get me to a title and Simons can't get me to the title, this guy's not getting me to the title in the next year and a half, 2 years. So it was that was some proof for him.
People didn't want to listen to Damian.
Yeah, I just think that there's still time for Scoot to develop into a great player. And I would love for him to be able to get signs, show us signs, and show himself signs. We've heard about it in practice. It's not like the guys don't, in training camp, they told you how fast he was, how strong he was, and they all understand why he was picked. So number 3 overall, which of course in a Wemby draft, he's kind of like, clearly he wasn't going to be picked number 1 in every other draft because he was picked 3. So that can't be true, but it's not, and it's also not the Blazer fans' fault for buying it because the people they trust said it.
Yeah, they should have used their own eyes.
You're such a hater.
I'm not a hater. It's just I'm not going to use any names here, but if someone I know in our industry, and they were saying if Dame comes back, it'll be Dame and Scoot in the background. I'm like, no, it won't. It'll be Dame and Ant. Where are you getting this from? I'm like, the head coach. Chauncey told me back in the spring that, that Scoot would not start with Dame. It was ridiculous. And so, I blame everyone for buying into hype when you could just go watch the G League games and go, okay, this guy in 9 out of 19 games shot under 40%. But yeah, he's going to make the leap into the NBA and have an impact helping Dame try to win. At 19, it's ridiculous.
All right, let's switch on over to an NBA overall question. We're down to the Final Four, Fentress. They're headed to Vegas.
You talking about college football playoffs?
Tournament.
Talking about the college football playoffs? Final Four?
Are you a believer? Have you bought in?
Okay, here's my feelings on it. I don't think it's a detriment. I don't think it's a negative. It's fine. It's cute. The courts are kind of interesting, kind of funky, but I couldn't care less. No interest whatsoever.
I could care less, and here's how I know. I did. When they announced it, I did care less, and now I care more. I've enjoyed it. The Knicks, almost got there. They thought they were going to Vegas, and I think someone had to tell them, no, you still got to go to Milwaukee. And they got blown out. Like, I wish we didn't play that game because that wasn't good. But, yeah, I watched the Suns-Lakers game. Terrible call in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But, it clearly mattered more. And the players care a little bit, and that's all that matters. And the crowds, the Pacers, Indiana's crowd, that was awesome. So while if they took it away tomorrow, I would not lose any sleep or shed a tear. I have to give them credit because it's better than I thought, and there's been more buy-in than I thought. So, and if the Blazers were in this right now, it would be something. It would matter to the fans. So that to me is a success.
I can't disagree with any of that. Maybe it's, I just don't care. I'm not fooled.
I want to see the trophy presentation, because that's, to me, where it gets going to get weird, right? Like, what are you going to, they're going to have T-shirts and hats? Like, they should just let the money come down, like, from the ceiling.
And then the players have to go scrap for it?
I say, like, champagne? Like, what's going to happen when it because sometimes, like in baseball, you win any playoffs, you celebrate it like it's a championship. You know what I mean?
That's tradition. You're in the clubhouse and they got the plastic over the lockers and you got goggles on, you're spraying champagne.
I got to cover the Braves when they were good. I was in that locker room for so many celebrations. And only one World Series title, but a lot of celebrations. I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. And especially because it's on a neutral court. So how many fans are going to travel?
It's a weekend. It's a Vegas weekend, right? So you're there for 3 games. You're going to Vegas. I think people are going to be there. I think there's going to be a lot of people in Vegas. It'll be packed. No doubt about that. Yeah, people are not going to fly from New Orleans to go watch the Pelicans in Vegas, right? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But it's in Vegas. There's a lot of sports fans in Vegas. I think they're going to go. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's just different because they're not going to be fans of that team.
Right.
Like there's not going to be Buck fans going crazy. If it's Laker fans, you'll be all right. But I mean, that part will be interesting to me. But yeah, it's been better than I thought, and I've cared more than I thought I would. So I give them a very solid B+.
Yeah, it's cute. I just don't care.
That's what my wife says about me. Hey, he's cute. I just don't care what he says.
All right. Anything else we need to cover before we have more technical difficulties? Are we good? Anything else? How about Duop Reef? How about that kid? Did I lose you?
You froze. You froze up right after.
We've been having trouble. We're gonna leave this technical difficulty in. We've been having trouble. I've been having trouble all day. I did a podcast with Brenna. I'm doing it with Craig. Starts and stops. It's just been maddening. But you can hear me now, right?
I can now. Did you make fun of me?
No, I said, is anything else to talk about? And I said, hey, how about Duop Reef? WAP is killing it. What a gem that guy is. We talked about gems, right?
Yeah.
Kamara and Jabari. I mean, my God.
Stretch 5, baby.
Stretch 5. Pick and pop, baby. Pick and pop. He's picking. He's pop. He started last night in front of Ayton. It was solid. He was good.
Yep. He's not embarrassing himself at all.
I mean, they're out there.
But yeah, I think we need to end this. We need to end this because I'm in physical pain. I'm in physical pain.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Blazer Focus podcast. We appreciate you hanging in there. We'll edit out a lot of the missteps, but man, it was a circus trying to record this thing. I blame Craig just because that's what I do. But anyway, we'll be back next week after, they're going to play Dallas. I can't wait to see Luka. Luka is insane. That guy had triple-double at halftime the other night. Can't wait to see him on Friday. Then they go to the Clippers. Then they come home for, I think, 7 of 8 at home against some wicked teams. They got Wemby coming twice at the end of the month. That's going to be a lot of fun. All that coming up in the next few weeks on the Blazer Focus podcast. We will catch you later.